What's up, folks? I am Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums, taping from a different location in the house, using my phone. Circumstances, got to roll with what you roll with, right? Today we're going to rank the catalog of a very cool band that I discovered not that long ago, and I'm really happy I discovered them. The band's called Wireless. Many of you might think, Pete, who the hell is Wireless? Never heard of them, right? Well, neither had I until fairly recently. This is a band from Canada, like I mentioned, although part Canadian, and there's a couple guys in the band from Australia, something like that. They morphed out of another band who were purely Australian, and then the Australians got together with the Canadians, formed Wireless, something like that. It's got this kind of convoluted history. Anyway, the folks that were in the band through their very short time together, they were only around for about like 4 or 5 years, I think. Well, as far as releasing albums, I think they were around a little bit longer than that. But by the time the early 80s came around, that was it for the band. But they formed in like the mid-70s. You got Mike Crawford on guitars and vocals, Alan Marshall, bass and vocals, Steve McMurray on guitar and vocals, Marty Morin on drums, also Glenn Beatson on drums, Mike Lalonde on vocals, and on keyboards and vocals, Lawrence Del Grande. Okay, so that is the band. Again, not all in the band at the same time together, but you get the picture. We got 3 albums in total. I have 2 of them. Their self-titled debut from 1976 has never been released on CD. You can find it out there in the wild on vinyl, so I don't have a physical copy to show of that, but I do have the other 2, which are these wonderful Rock Candy reissues of their second and third album. So I'm going to rank these as I like them, starting from number 3, going all the way to number 1, 3 being the least favorite of them, right? So let's start with that number 3, right? From 1976, the self-titled Wireless debut will be coming in at number 3 for me. Produced by Jack Richardson, released on Atlantic Records, so right off the bat they were signed to a major label. It starts over the track called Spend the Night With Me, which is real memorable. Hard-charging boogie rock, right? They do a little bit of boogie rock here and there. Good lead and slide guitars. Cool song. If you like boogie rock, it's nothing outstanding, but it's pretty good. Old-fashioned feeling, solid melodic rock song. Really like that a lot. Where We Ought to Be, to me, is like a head-on collision of like hard rock and Creedence Clearwater Revival and early REO Speedwagon. The first couple of albums, maybe with a little like early Doobie Brothers and Bob Welch era Fleetwood Mac thrown into the mix. Sounds intriguing? It is. Really good stuff. Lady Anne, a little more atmospheric, some kind of cool like guitar arpeggios and haunting vocals. Getting like a little early Rush vibe on this one. Rush is more mellow, atmospheric stuff from those first couple albums. That's kind of what it sounds like. And then in the middle section, you get this heavier riffing part with these blistering guitar leads, twin guitar leads, I might add. A lot of twin guitars on these albums. Really, really cool stuff. Great song. And it's also the longest track on the album, like 6.5 minutes long. So pretty cool. I Just Couldn't Believe. Fun, hard rock and boogie track. I like that. Lovin' in Return. Again, goes back to that early Doobie Brothers sound, and I'm thinking early Doobie Brothers sound like second, third, and fourth albums, maybe fifth album, right? So the first early part of the catalog when you had Tom and Pat doing all the lead vocals, right? Really cool stuff. Kind of funky, too. Guitars are real gritty, vocals are great, really well done. They do a very cool cover of Aretha Franklin's Chain of Fools song, which is really funky, got clavinet all over the place, nasty guitar licks. I'm getting like this whole, they take that song, they do a really good job with it, and almost make it like kind of Come Taste the Band era Deep Purple vibe, so to speak. So if you like that, you'll like this. And they also do a cover version of the Moody's early classic Go Now, written by Denny Lane, off the very first album. It's very similar to the original, but they do some kind of cool distorted organ sounds, which I kind of like. Really good. Love the Way You Feel is a haunting atmospheric rocker. Loads of creepy organ, meaty guitar playing. Has kind of like a blood rock meets Vanilla Fudge feel to it. I like it. Really strong album. Great way to start the career. Short career as it is. So, but it comes in number 3 because the other 2 are better, in my opinion. All right, next up, I'm going to go with their second album, Positively Human, Relatively Sane. There. Sorry for the little bit of glare. Second album, Tom Berry produced. By now they've moved over to Warner Records, but the Anthem label, so they're sharing the label with Rush and Max Webster and so on and so forth. I Know You Know, terrific opener. Big early Doobie Brothers feel. Smoking lead and slide guitars. Catchy chorus, great grooves, excellent song. Really good. No Way Out follows, rocks hard. Sounds like early Grand Funk Railroad to my ears. Big fat bass grooves, soulful vocals, nasty guitar licks. Kick-ass song. Absolutely love it. Also has a James Gang feel to it a little bit, which I kind of dig. Good Night Ladies, tasty bluesy rock, but there's kind of like a certain sophistication to it, which I really like a lot. Guitars are very melodic, but biting. Nice use of organ. Vocals are excellent. Really good. Then, Right to Beg. Another strong, hard-charging rocker. Love the riffing. Love the lead guitars. Another catchy chorus. Just really solid 70s hard rock with quality everything. Really, really good. What You Make It, total funk. Sounds like Edgar Winter Band, like Free Ride meets Parliament Funkadelic. Very cool. The Hard Way brings out the hard rock again. Guitars have a tone in them that aren't that dissimilar from what Pat Travers was doing at the same time. So that kind of like fuzzy, not really fuzzy, but like phaser soaked guitar tone, really, really nice. But it's got these quirky little lead fills and things that are all over the song. Really, really good. Excellent track. Sign Right Here, another great hard rocker. Nasty, nasty hard rock. Think Nazareth. Think Pat Travers. Think Cactus. Humble Pie. Early Doobies. Grand Funk Railroad. If you like any of the above, you'll love this track. Really good. And then you got The Rut. The Rut is kind of weird. It's a weird fit on this album, but it's really cool. It's kind of like West Coast rock, yacht rock. Really good song. Kind of like, if you could imagine in a weird way, Max Webster meets Pablo Cruz meets Ambrosia. I know that sounds bizarre, but that's kind of like what it sounds like to me. Very cool. And then the album closes with 461 or 461 Markham. Bluesy, at times proggy. Starts off kind of bland and uneventful, and then it kicks into this wild, like Allman Brothers meets early REO meets Starcastle thing for the second half of the song. It's absolutely brilliant. Overall, great album. Would have been my number one easily. However, their third and final album, called No Static, from 1980, produced by Geddy Lee. The guys in Rush were a big fan. In fact, they toured with Rush quite a bit early on. Warner Anthem Records. This is number one for me. I'll tell you why. Pay to Ride opens. Definitely sounds like a little bit more modern and tight for the band. It's losing a little bit of that 70s vibe, moving into the 80s, but it's got this quirky hard rock feel. Not all that different than Max Webster or the Tubes. Love the guitar work. Great. Timekeeper, another strong rocker. Almost sounds a little southern rock in spots, like Blackfoot from like the same time period. There's a little bit of that southern rockiness in their music at times. Really melodic though. Go Naked Through the World, really heavy. Love the riffing. It's just a killer anthem and one of my favorite songs overall from the band. Do not miss Go Naked Through the World. Really, really good. That riff is just killer. Killer, killer. One of a Kind is up next. Another blistering hard rock song with that slightly funky feel. Again, Pat Travers meets the James Gang, and I'm talking the James Gang circa when Tommy Bolin was in the band. There is a little Tommy Bolin kind of flavor to some songs as well, whether Tommy being in Deep Purple or in the James Gang or even solo. Awesome. And the twin guitar lines and leads are red hot. East of the Sun, West of the Moon is up next. Slow builder of a song, kind of proggy, kind of doomy in spots. The riffing is kind of doomy and slow and heavy. Really good. Great lead vocals. Excellent track. Deep Heat is probably the most straightforward kind of hard rock song on the album, but it's a really, really good one. Warm Night with a 3/4 moon, also loads of fun. Got this cool like Latin guitar solo breakdown in the middle, which is pure genius. Really good. And then you got Friends, which is kind of groovy, kind of Doobie Brothers style rock from similar time period. Maybe not the Michael McDonald era, but the more funky, like early stuff, like I said, with Pat and Tom. It's got this kind of funky, like China Grove, that sort of thing, right? And then Journey of a Possible Hero closes out the album, and that's like this potent, proggy, hard rocker. Another really good song. Great riffs, great soloing, excellent vocals. The drumming is off the charts good. Great album. Really, really great album. I got to get my hands on that debut because I really like that a lot too, but it's never been released on CD. But like I said, you can't find vinyl copies out there used in the wild. I may just have to do that just to have it because I really dig it. But man, these two are, to me, the second and third album are on like a different level. And so good. And it's funny, leading up to doing this ranking, I've been listening to these a lot. And when I first got these Rock Candy reissues, part of me was kind of like, well, do I really like the 70s vibe from the second album a little more than kind of like the start of the 80s for them, where things are changing up a little bit? There are some similarities because there's some holdover 70s feel on this album, but this album just seems to me a little bit tighter. It's a little heavier in spots. There's more of a proggy vibe, and I think it's going to nudge it for me. So that's why I picked this as my number one. No Static, produced by, and the production is really good from Getty. Getty hasn't done a lot of producing, but I think it worked really well. But man, this album is great too. Don't sleep on the first two, because the first two are kind of similar, although the second album is better. So it's okay. Just wait, hold it. So thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all the damn time. See you next week for another one. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching.